Welcome to another episode. Today's episode, I'm going to be working on the back here to connect the vent for the fuel injection system to the gas tank. Stay tuned.
Music bed.
So with the Fitech, if you get the fuel pump command center, that's the round, and they changed it now, it's kind of a square one, which is nicer to mount, I guess. But I installed it here under the fender. There's some videos on there you can watch. But it has, you connect the fuel coming from the mechanical fuel pump. It goes to your fuel injection unit, but it does have a bent hose. Now, they recommend for the bent hose to, I think it just says to bend it. It might say to the gas tank, but I know I read a lot of reviews where people just bented it and then they would get gas spilled out of there, which what I did is run a copper tube all the way from the front, all the way back here, pretty much like a return system. And then I have the end down here. So what I'm gonna do today is go ahead and take out my filler neck here, and I'm gonna tap 1/8 pipe thread and tap this little 1/8 bar fitting so I can connect that copper tube to my filler neck. It's supposed to be just a bend, but I have noticed one or two times that there's like a little bit of fuel in there. And so I haven't driven the car too long to really know how much it spills, but I really don't want to just be dumping fuel on the floor anywhere. So what I'm going to do is find a place to get the copper tubing in here, probably here on the corner of the trunk. And I'll get a light so you guys can see better. And then I'll finish running it here underneath to this, connected with a piece of fuel line. So that way, if there's any fuel, it can just go back in the gas tank. It doesn't just spill on the floor. I don't want to create a fire hazard either. So let me get, gonna get a piece of cardboard just to lay under here, see where I'm gonna put this pipe to, and then start removing that. So to remove my filler neck, I use 7/16 wrench. Just to, there is a nut for the, kind of the bolt here that holds the fuel cap. That's the only one that has a nut. The other one has the little bolts, which is a 5/16. I'm gonna get a screwdriver to get the filler neck out. Not there, but maybe over here. So with the filler neck, I have the hose clamp here. That's the last thing I need to loosen up. So we should be able to, gonna set you guys down here for a second so I can use both hands. You should be able to kind of wiggle it out. I'll probably loosen up both of the hose clamps here. So once I take it off the tank, it makes it easier to actually take it off the filler neck. So. And that looks pretty cool there. So I would have drilled it here, but you know, I don't want shavings to go in the gas tank, so taking it out. You'll need a tap, drill bit and tap. If you don't have one, you can buy just the one. I have my kit here, which has the 1/8. I showed you guys when I used this to do the intake manifold. And then I have my little guide here, so let's see. 1/8 national pipe thread. You just have to find the right one. 1/8 national pipe thread. So 21/64 is the drill bit that you want. So I'm gonna grab that here. .21/64. Got the drill bit. Gonna get a drill and go ahead and drill this out. And I marked where I wanted the little spout to be, so I'm just gonna drill it right there. Put some oil on there so your drill bit doesn't get all right. So got this drilled out. I was actually I was really expecting that to be thinner than it is, really. It's a pretty decent size of a tube here, so just using this file to get any of the burrs off, especially here on the inside. I just don't want over time for something to drop into the gas tank, so I'll get some brake cleaner, clean this out really good. Oops, sprayed half my tool box there. All right. So there's that. Gonna go ahead and move you here a little bit again. we're gonna use the tap and tap into here. So. And so it's going to be a little bit tight. You just have to kind of get it started here. It is a thinner piece of metal, so we're not going to get too many threads. Probably just a couple. But it's really just a band, so, you know. The main thing is I want it to seal good. You don't want it to... kind of leak. I mean, that's going to be gas there. So the thing is, if you have a good tap, it's going to make good threads right away. So that's the plus side. So looks pretty good. Alright, I was just using a screwdriver to take some of the burrs off the inside again. So. Okay, I'm gonna grab my little nipple there. And I'm gonna put a little bit of a thread sealant here on the threads of this one. So I like using the liquid thread sealant. I just, over the years, I find it works really well when it's not so old and it's only clear liquid coming out, I guess. But there we go. You can use some Teflon tape as well. I found this stuff works really good for anything water, fuel, oil. And now I actually have to wait. I have to install this in the car first because with that nipple sticking out, there's no way I can put it in there. So let me go put it over there and then I'll show you guys what I did after. Okay, so we'll stick this back in here. Last time was to put the little piece of filler neck here on the spout, and then push it down. So there we go. I can tighten up the hose clamps here. Actually, what I'm gonna do is tighten up the screws on the outside first, because that's gonna push the filler neck all the way in. If I connect the hose clamp, we might, be pushing it out just slightly. And these don't have to be really tight. They have to be snug. Especially for me, I'm gonna have to remove these when I paint the car. Just that way the paint gets under there and everything. So that's especially what I did with this nut here. It was pretty much just finger tight, because it's a little bit of a pain to get it in there. I'm actually gonna have to get a socket now. So. I'm gonna put a piece of paper in the socket so that way the nut stays at the edge. Because if not, it was gonna push all the way in and it wasn't gonna grab. So. And so I'm just gonna put that really lightly, not too tight, because that's gonna have to come back out when I paint the car. So, and hopefully at this point it won't be too far from now. So, time these up. And you want these to be decently snug. You don't want no gas smell, but that sounds pretty good. So now I can get my nipple here and thread it on there. Now this will have to come back out when I take that filler neck out, but that's okay. I still want to make sure it has, thread sealant and seals really good in there. So with pipe thread, it's kind of tapered anyway. So, like you see here, on the tap, I didn't go all the way through because when you do that, it makes it looser because the tap is tapered a little bit also. So this is, it's tight. So I like that because that means it's sealing really well. But that's what it's gonna look like there. And then I'll go ahead and tap my little hose here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do the hole here on the bottom. I might honestly just use this hole that the car came with. It's like a drain, but it goes all the way through, so I'll look underneath. I might just stick that tube through here and then just kind of bend it to go over here. Okay, so it's all done. So what I did is I, wrapped the metal all around. It comes here and then into the spout. So just put a piece of rubber here on the end, and then I put a piece of rubber underneath, and I'll show you here in a minute. So my plan is to, you know, cover the trunk here with kind of like thin wood. I'm gonna do a speaker box on the back, and then I'm gonna, you know, cover the bottom, put like a piece of the thin wood with maybe carpet, put also like a cover here on the side, just that way it's not open that way, it's not open that way. And then here on the back side, I'm gonna also cover with a piece of wood, goes all the way across, and then here on top. Except here where the trunk latch is, but so that way you have kind of like a nice square where you can, you know, you have your glove box or your trunk space, but it covers everything else. So the fuel tank is higher than the floor here anyway, so that piece of wood would be right on top of this. And if I need to, I can kind of bend this a little bit more, push it down. I put a rubber piece of hose here, just that way it doesn't rub in there. And then underneath, I also, so I went ahead and finished it here. You know, just went ahead and put a piece of hose going from that line in here, going in, and then I put a retainer there on top so it holds the line going in. So that's all set. That's pretty much kind of like a return line. You know, it's kind of a vapor, but it does return a little bit of fuel, but that's where it's gonna end up. So I'll probably get some black paint and paint the rest of it so you can't really see a silver underneath, but or copper. But you know, that's all said and done there. So next step here on the car. This is kind of a tedious video, but really, I mean, that's part of finishing up the fuel injection. Next video, I'm gonna finish up the dash, so mount it completely in there, mount my wiper switch, because that's just hanging there, and then mount my AC controls and the vent on the other side. So I'll show you guys that on the next video. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below, and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you on the next one.